I'm going to briefly go over the integration of Receipt Bank into Xero and just show a little bit about how the flow of data is pushed across from Receipt Bank to Xero. It's important to understand how things flow across in order to ensure the accuracy of your books. So over here we're on the inbox tab in Receipt Bank, and we have two receipts that are ready for export. And what I like to do is I like to get a bunch of receipts into Receipt Bank, and then on a regular basis go in there, verify the data on these receipts, and then push them across in one as a batch, basically. So I would click on the first receipt in the list here, and I would you could see that this data has already been populated, and it's pretty accurate for the most part, but we do want to make sure that there is nothing that we need to correct. So here we're going to verify the supplier name, the date. We're going to check that the currency is correct. In this example, since I'm in a demo account, we're going to stick with the US dollars. Otherwise, you want to make sure you're selecting the correct currency. The tax rate, this is a very important box. These tax rates or tax codes are synchronizing with the tax codes that we have set up in Xero. So we want to, for each receipt, we always want to select the tax code that applies. So whether it's tax on purchases in Quebec, tax on purchases in Ontario, whatever we were charged, whatever tax rate we were charged, we want to select the correct one from this list. The paid box, we're gonna put that as no for the time being, and we'll revisit this a little bit later. Client and project, these aren't essential things to fill out, but you can if you like. The category is one that we need to keep a close eye on. Even though Receipt Bank is fairly accurate, there are times where we need to correct this. In this case, we have it correctly selected as in meals and entertainment expense, so we're going to leave that be. Description, again, it's not necessary, but you could enter one here if you like. Payment method, did we pay cash, credit card, check, or any other method in the list here. Bank account, this drop-down menu is synchronizing with Xero once again. So if you have Royal Bank accounts, TD Bank accounts, CIBC, if you have 2 or 3 different accounts hooked up to Xero, if you have different credit cards, if you have PayPal, whatever accounts or bank accounts or credit cards are hooked up to Xero, it's going to populate in this list here, and we need to select the correct account that receipt was paid from. Once everything has been verified, what I like to do is, instead of publishing individually right away, I like to jump over to the next expense, verify all the information is correct here as well, and then I'll jump over to the next one, and so on. Once everything has been verified, I will click back into the inbox tab, and I will select all, and I will click on this this little arrow over here, which publishes things across to Xero. For this example, we're going to publish one at a time. So over here, we verified all the information. We're going to publish this across to Xero. That's going to take a few seconds. Sometimes it's instant, and sometimes it takes about a minute. But what we're going to do is, since we had it as paid no in Receipt Bank, it's going to populate in our purchases section under awaiting payment. And over here, we can see that it has been pushed across. And what we're going to do, if we click on it, the correct information has been populated in Xero. We even have a copy of the electronic receipt attached to the transaction, which is pretty handy. But you could see that it's in our awaiting payment section. So we'd have to add a payment manually, or we'd have to reconcile that from the bank or the credit cards and so on. In our next example, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the other receipt here, and we're going to mark this as paid yes. When you mark this paid yes, we need to select the account that it's being paid from. So if this receipt was paid, out of your credit card, or let's say out of your bank account, and this receipt or bill has already been paid, we mark it as paid yes, and we select the correct account. So assume that this was already paid out of our bank account. What we're going to do now is we're going to publish this. We're going to wait a few seconds and we're going to jump into Xero. And this is going to skip the purchases section altogether. So in the previous example, we had it in purchases, awaiting payment. Now, since we marked the bill as paid and we had it paid through the bank account, it's going to skip the awaiting payment section. It's going to be automatically marked as paid, and it's going to flow through the bank account that we have connected here. So we're going to see if this is already synchronized across. And let's see. So here we go. So it's been synchronized across, and it's automatically been posted to our bank account as something that is unreconciled. You can see at the bottom it says payments and the name of the restaurant or the name of the supplier. And the date of payment was October 18th, the same day on the receipt. So we can click here and we could see that this is a transaction. This was a bill that was paid. So it's very important to get that flow, understand that flow. There's two different ways you can go in Receipt Bank. You put it paid as no, and it's going to flow to accounts purchases under awaiting payment. Or the other way around is if it's already been paid, it's going to you mark it paid yes. You select the correct account that it was paid from, whether it be your bank account or credit card, and it's going to be marked as an unreconciled item through your bank account. We'd be able to see that through account transactions as we've seen before. And once the transaction is posted to your bank account, you could reconcile that transaction by matching it. The only thing to be aware of is there's a lot of expenses that are sometimes paid out of shareholders' pockets, so they actually don't hit any bank accounts that are connected to Xero, any business bank accounts that are connected to Xero, or business credit cards. When that happens, we mark the receipt as paid no. We let it populate in the purchases section under awaiting payment. And then what we would do is we would manually mark it as paid. We would select the same date of the bill, and we would select a shareholder's loan account here, and we would add the payment manually. So that's what you need to do when you have a receipt that's paid directly from the shareholder's pocket. And basically, that's a quick rundown of the integration of Receipt Bank and Xero.